Alright, this is EPGP Lootmaster and everything you need to know about looting with us. So, number one, you're going to want to get the add-on EPGP Lootmaster. I put links all over the forums and all over the comments for this video, so make sure you get on top of that. Once you have it, all you really got to know is that you need to choose your upgrades carefully, kind of have an idea what's good for your class beforehand. And you got to know that the EPGP system by itself is not used with us. We actually used a modified loot council. It's pretty fair. Definitely doesn't have the problems of EPGP at the same time. So if you know what it is, don't worry about it. We're not going to be using it. But for the add-on itself, once you have it, you want to get into your add-on control panel and you want to turn off the actual master looter. Reason for that is there's a lot of stuff in the master looter that you really don't need as just a normal guildie. So just go ahead and turn that off entirely. If there's ever a point in time when you are part of the loot council, you can turn it on again. But for right now, just keep it off. So when something drops, you're going to see something very interesting. So this top area right here, I'm going to highlight everything as I'm going here. This is the only window you'll see. Don't worry about this red part right now. I'm going to go over that in a second. But you might see a couple of these boxes. Obviously, the thing that we're rolling on is right here. This lovely purple item here. This is just one of the things I have on currently, which hopefully, geez, I'm going to get rid of it soon. You can put your mouse over it, like right here, and you can see the stats for the item. And then you have a bunch of buttons here. These are the important things, okay? So if the item that you have is a higher level, item level than what you have, and it's definitely an upgrade that's usable for your class, would give you some kind of strong benefit, you go ahead and click this button. Don't worry about if other people need it or not, okay? Some people want to be really charitable and try to, you know, pass off gear on other people. Let us take care of whether it's a really strong upgrade for you versus other people or not. So if it's a strong upgrade for you, just go ahead and click that button. If it's the same item level, you go ahead and push the next button. Okay, if it's still some kind of an upgrade for you, be it a little bit or, you know, as minor as it can be, just definitely hit that button if you can use it at all. Flex off spec. The people who are flex off spec know it, okay, and generally most guildies won't have to have any interaction with this button, so don't press that unless you know what you're talking about. The normal off spec role is basically everyone else. If you know you're not a designated flex off spec and you have any kind of off spec that can use the piece that just dropped, go ahead and hit this button, okay? Now the last one here, actually second to last, is 100% leveled trade skill. So that's basically for if you have a trade skill that's at 100%, you know, at the top progression for the current expansion pack, you want to hit that button if you can use whatever recipe might have dropped. Okay, that's only for recipes. Pass button is obviously if you cannot use the item at all. Alright, so make sure you use that as you need to. You'll notice here that you do have a timer. Okay, we keep our timer at exactly 1 minute for all the loot that drops. So it's all going to be announced at the same time. You're going to need to be ready to say, hey, I need this item, I need this item, I don't need this item. Make selections very quickly. Alright, once that timer comes down, we're not going to go back. We're not going to say, hey, you know, re-roll on this stuff. That's taking time out of our chance to get farther in progression. So we're not going to do that. So make sure you are on top of this timer. Make sure you are hitting your selections as needed. There might be some notes information here. Don't really worry about that too much. We're not too keen on looking at notes. Not really going to look over that. So don't worry about this button here. So once you get through all of this, this is actually the window we get on the loot council. Okay, this is not anything that you're going to have to worry about. for the most part, but I want to kind of give you an idea of what's going on with this. So this big red box, if you can see it, this is that part that I already said that happens when you don't have that master looter disabled. So this is what we see. We will see a list of every single raider in the raid right now, okay? Instead of these button 5s, you know, all of this stuff, this will be replaced by different people in the raid. You'll have different guild ranks. You know, that doesn't really apply for us as much. I mean, it does for a certain extent, but mostly everyone in the group should be raiders eventually and higher. So once you're at raider rank, don't worry about it too much. And then after that, we'll be able to see exactly what the response was for each of the pieces. Okay, so like I would hit, you know, one response to, you know, the green box up here. Someone else might hit another response. Someone else might hit another response. And obviously, we are going to take the highest response and make a decision based on that. Okay, so if there's only one person that needs it as a higher level upgrade, that person is going to get that item. But if there's any kind of conflict there, any kind of you know, tension between people wanting it, we're going to take the loot council and we're going to decide, well, who is the better upgrade for? Who has been kicking ass with the raid, you know, realizing what kind of strategy we need for the upcoming fights, puts more effort into it, helps other people out. There's all sorts of subjective things in there, but for the most part it's objective. You know, we want to make sure that the loot is going out to wherever it helps the guild as a whole the most. So keep that in mind. You might get passed on gear, you might have it happen quite a lot, but we try very hard to balance out the gear as much as possible. Aside from that, there are other statistics on here. You know, PR, GP, this is part of the EPGP system right here. I don't want you to worry about that too much, okay? That might be something we fill in internally, but it's not going to be used. Like I said, the EPGP system here is not really used at all, so ignore most of this. There is a role section here, okay, and at times I may call for random rolls for certain things. Say we have some kind of vanity item that drops and there's not really anyone who's laying claim on it, or if it's just like a maybe a blue item is a good example. A blue item, a BOE that costs, you know, can go on the auction house and get someone some money, but it's no upgrade for anyone. I would look at the roll area right here, and the add-on actually generates these numbers randomly. So there's no need to actually do a slash roll, although I might do that sometimes. The add-on just has the rolls ready there. So if this were like a BOE blue item, I'd probably just look down this list here and, oh, look at that, a 90. We're just going to give it out to this third person. Okay, cool, you know. After that, we would probably go through and see, you know, we can see all of the items that people already have on right here. So again, don't worry about really any part of this red box. You're not going to see it after today, but this is what we are looking at when we are doing our loot council stuff. So some things that you got to realize here when we're doing this. Our loot council, we are filling with impartial players whenever possible. That is to say that, you know, I want to make it so that 99% of the judgment is based on things that are objectable, that can be measured, that kind of thing. What I don't want is a hell of a lot of subjective stuff, although that may enter in occasionally. Okay. Like I said, we are focusing on the best for the guild. We want to make sure that the group is going as far as humanly possible. We don't want to have people that are, you know, going for whatever helps themselves. You know, this is the kind of person that is not going to be part of the loot council. If you notice anything like that, by all means, let me know. And in terms of priorities, I want to make this kind of really clear here. The tanks, for the most part, are going to be geared to the teeth. This is because there are 2 of them to 23 of everyone else. Okay, essentially, these 2 people are, I'm not going to say carrying the whole rest of the raid, but they're kind of the focal point of performance. If the tanks are failing, then everyone else is failing, it's horrible. You know that. So for the most part, tanks get what they need. The healers follow quickly after. There aren't a hell of a lot of DPS checks. There are an awful lot of healing checks. Okay, DPS checks can be overcome for the most part, and aside from that, there's an awful lot more gear required to overcome those DPS checks. So, based on the fact that the healers are only 6 out of the 25, the healers get most of the gear that they need as well. So after these people have been taken care of, the DPS start filtering in. Okay. A lot of the times, the tanks might have some conflict, healers might have a little more conflict, but any kind of real big conflict in gear, they'll come from the DPS people. So be prepared for a lot of loot council with that. We want to make sure that the gear goes out to the people who can use them the best and provide the best benefit for the raid. So after all of these main specs are done, you can go right into the off specs, and there is one little priority there. Designated flex roles are greater than all others. So if we have someone who is designated as a 3rd or even 4th tank, that person would get priority off of all off-spec tanking gear before anyone else, and you saw that in the add-on before. So that's really all you got to worry about with that. Aside from that, the all others thing, that might end up being mostly a kind of a role thing, but we'll see how we work on that as we come to it. So, general etiquette, while we're here, please don't whine about loot ever, okay? If you start going crazy about loot, we will probably kick you right out. I'm telling you that as a precautionary thing. We don't want to see anyone even saying a thing about loot, about how anything's unfair during the raid. If you want to, talk to me later after the whole thing is done, or talk to Psyduck John, or, any of my officers, by all means talk about it later. But during the raid, it is entirely inappropriate. And I want to make it very clear that it's not going to be tolerated, okay? But after that, keep in mind that your selection will be over, completely done with 1 minute from loot announcements. That's that timer that I was talking about. If you miss that, that is your fault. We're not going to go back, like I said, and redo it, okay? Essentially, this whole system just says, get more loot by being awesome, okay? So you want to perform as high as you possibly can for your item level. You want to make sure that you are doing the things that we need done. You need to come prepared. You need to set positive examples. You need to be vocal when appropriate, especially in the chat channels, communicating things that need to happen. All this stuff makes good rating, and we are looking for that actively as we're going here. And we want to, while we do want to objectively make sure that the loot goes where it needs to go, we also, for that 1%, want to make sure it goes to the people who really deserve it. So do whatever you can. Be the best you can be, and you will start getting your character really just geared to the teeth. So this is my little presentation. I hope it was valuable to you. Talk to me in the guild. See you later.